I'm Tasmelis of The Starters.
This is Ben Golliver with the Open Floor Podcast.
Hi, I'm Kristen Ludlow from NBA Inside Stuff.
I'm OG Anunoby of the Toronto Raptors.
Hey, I'm Elena Delanon, and welcome to the Double Clutch.
Double Clutch.
Double Clutch. Double Clutch.
Double Clutch Podcast.
Hello and welcome to a special edition of the Double Clutch Podcast with video content, actually. We are in LA in an unspecified location. I'm joined by a man consuming mojitos already. It's Mr. Josh Coyne.
Hello.
And one of the nicest guys I've had the pleasure of meeting, it's Josh Dixon, a.k.a. JD Crossover. Welcome to the show.
Thank you. Pleasure to be here.
I'm going to take umbrage with the fact that I'm the man drinking mojitos and he's one of the nicest men you've ever met. I feel...
Well, I think you might be a couple of drinks away from being the nicest man I've ever met. So today we've had a pretty epic day, actually. We spent the morning at the 2K Community Day, about 10 minutes up the road from here. No idea what it was.
Microsoft
Lounge, which was pretty epic. So we thought we'd just get together, recap our first impressions of 2K20. So let's get right in there. I loved it. I don't know what else to say. I've spoken about it already so much.
100%. Came away feeling so excited for playing that for an entire year. I played it for about 3 hours non-stop and it felt like 10 minutes. I could have gone on all day. If I hadn't been pulled away from the station.
Hadn't been pulled away kicking and screaming.
Exactly.
Nice. What did you particularly like about it then?
The in-depth nature of my career definitely was far, far away and beyond better than last year.
That storyline is pretty cool, actually.
It's something else. The immersiveness in picking your players, creating your builds. No one is going to have the same build this year. So there must be thousands of combinations of players to build.
At least with all the badges and everything.
Exactly. And the different physicals you can choose, different attributes, badges like I mentioned, thousands. No one's going to have the same build. And that really makes it about the player, whether or not you're going to be good or not.
That's awesome. What did you like then?
Like you said, you kind of almost touched on it. The narrative side of things on my career seemed to kind of step up a notch. We had the chance to speak to a couple of the devs, one of which being Ben, who took me through how much of an important aspect of the game they feel it is, and they've invested big time. The introduction of some pretty high-level A-star actors, and the cast is unbelievable. And it feels like they've taken a different route in terms of the narrative of my career this year, and I think that it's quite a refreshing angle.
Yeah, I played it for a bit. The My Career section was mad. Just the way the stories went. I always want there to be a little bit of interactivity, but I get that would just be like insane if they were able to, like, the amount of shooting and but the storyline is great so far. I want to see how far it goes. You know how often you get halfway through, sort of almost toward the end of one season and it drops out. I want to see how far they've gone with it this year. But yeah, the game itself was epic. Did you find any players particularly good to use?
In play now, I only used the Pelicans, I think, just to see what Zion was like.
And
he was pretty good.
He's pretty good.
As good.
Did he have a jump shot? Any semblance of a jump shot?
I didn't try it.
I didn't take one.
You just went for dunk straight away.
He's built like
just bullying the
Zion.
mismatch.
Yeah,
bullying
big
the
time.
mismatch.
Big time.
I've got to say the Lakers were fun to play with, which is not something I take lightly in saying, because I never want to say that about this wonderful city that we're currently in. I thought they were great to play with. LeBron is just dominant.
Yeah.
AD's great. Danny Green, corner threes.
Money.
I think I went like 7 for 7 to start a game against your Boston Celtics, who I was smashing. That was brilliant. I really enjoyed that. But I didn't miss for like the first 6-7 shots, which felt a bit...
What difficulty was it on?
What's the default? Pro, and I assume that's not good.
It's the easiest.
Get out. There must be a rookie.
No, pro's the easiest.
And what level were you playing on?
I think I put it all-star.
What's the highest? Hall of Famer?
Yeah.
See, this is why you beat me by 100 points when we play. You lost, though.
I lost the first game. I'm going to go... I mean, the Boston Celtics aren't having a good run here because I was the Boston Celtics versus the Brooklyn Nets. And
revenge.
Unfortunately, Kyrie sauced me, which didn't feel very good. Didn't taste like a nice edible sauce. And then we moved on, and we both tried out WNBA.
WNBA was incredible, actually. I can't believe. Firstly, it's great that they've got it in the game, but it felt totally different.
Mm-hmm.
But in a good way. It was unique. I didn't know what to expect. I think we've spoken about it before earlier today. In that the way that Madden is for NFL, this could be for the WNBA in terms of increasing its popularity. You played WNBA as well, didn't you?
Yeah.
What were your takeaways?
It was the first game I played of the day, so it was the first
that was your first
out of a
ever
3-hour stint.
Wow!
My first game of 2K20 was a WNBA game. I played the first half, I think, and then I moved on to the next thing because my attention span's pretty short. But it was good. It was better than I thought it was going to be. I didn't think they'd respect the players as much as they did.
Sure.
In terms of making their abilities as good as they are in game as they are in real life. But no, I was very impressed, and I think it's only good for the game.
What teams did you play with?
The one with Candace Parker on.
Okay, yeah.
Against someone else.
Yeah, well, what you said about about what you expected from them, we spoke to a couple of the devs, and they spoke about how important that was to them.
Must have been.
They said that they wanted to get a fair representation of the quality of the game. The product of the WNBA has increased tenfold in recent years, and you can really see that in the game. But most importantly, like the kind of dynamics of the WNBA game is different. There's a different fluidity. There's a different reliance on fundamentals. It's a bit trickier. It's not necessarily as all guns blazing, but they said that they really wanted that and the mechanics of the female players to kind of represent what it really feels like to watch the WNBA. They also spoke about the sheer importance of representation in bringing women to the biggest basketball game in the world. I mean, it's going to open up a whole new audience to the sport, and I think it could have that kind of monumental effect that, as a young teenager who already had a passing interest in basketball, the 2K games had a massive impact on me learning the game, getting to know a little bit more about the league, and kind of springboarded me on from there. So if that can happen to not just women, but especially women, especially young girls who now feel as though they have the kind of that something to, it's like when you get representation where like you get a superhero is a woman or a superhero is a person of color. It's given us that kind of people that attainable goal. And I think if you get Liz Cambage there on a computer game, and you can drop 42 points with 10 rebounds and 6 assists like I did earlier on,
you did.
Then that's massive for female sports, and I think it'll be great for that audience.
How long do you think it's going to be? Obviously, you're a 2K YouTuber. How long do you think it's going to be before we see dedicated WNBA 2K channels popping up?
I definitely think it could happen this year. I think there's plenty of women 2K channels out there that will want to focus on it primarily. And just going on your fact of like building the sport upon that, FIFA added in women's teams 2 or 3 years ago, I think.
Really? I don't play FIFA.
No, neither do I. But I knew they put it in there.
Yeah.
And you look at where the women's game is now.
Yeah, true.
Just this year, it's exploded compared to a couple of years back. I'm not saying FIFA's obviously like directly done that, but it's probably helped in some regard to bring in, like you said, more young people into the game. Yeah. And if that could happen again with basketball, and in women's basketball in a couple of years is exploding at a national level, that's only going to be good.
Played some role.
Exactly. Yeah. That's only going to be good for everyone involved.
Yeah, because I don't know about you, but when you're watching a sport, you have an inclination to play the game, and then vice versa. Yeah. Sometimes, if you're watching football, a lot of the time I want to get down, sit down, play some FIFA, same as basketball. And I think that if you can actually have that initial engagement of WNBA, and then you can sit down, learn even more, and actually engage actively in an interactive fashion with the sport itself and the teams, that'd be massive. It's a massive education piece, and it's also, long time coming.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah. Okay, so obviously that's a huge thing. What else did you enjoy about the game? Specifically, in the game, we're talking like in-game action. What did you notice that was different from last year? What is it that sort of stood out to you?
One of the small things to me, as someone who played the game a lot last year.
How many hours do you average a day on the game?
2 or 3. So it's not crazy. It's not crazy.
It's not yet. You need to go and have counselling somewhere. It's not yet a full blown.
I've got my application in, but it's not been processed yet. One of the little things that obviously, when you play a game to a certain level, you notice every minute detail that is wrong with said game, which you did last year. One of those was you could run diagonally across a player bringing the ball up the court, and if you just hit square at the right time, you get a steal every time, even if that player was protecting the ball. So you just run diagonally across them, steal the ball straight away, and then just go take it in.
Okay.
So I tried that many times today to see if that was in the game, and it's been patched, it's been taken out, which is great, because when you're playing online, it's incredibly frustrating when that happened, like every time you're coming down the court. So that's been taken out, that's great, and it's good to see, because that was one of the big bits of feedback from the My Team community especially, was bump steals, which is what it's called. So yeah, they've done that, which is a good change.
So I was speaking to Mike Wang, developer, and he's talking about all the in-game play, and where they want to be is where you can't tell the difference between watching a game and playing 2K.
Yeah.
And he's obviously he's got the perspective to say we're not there yet, but this is what we're working on. This is why we change it each year. Everything seems to be stepping in the right direction. There's so many. Did you see the blog post he put out where he basically listed every single? It's like a 2,000-word essay.
It's long. It's long.
But all the things like that.
Great read. Though.
Yeah, it is.
Great
Like the foot planting, the weight movement, the shifting, the speed and acceleration. Just the level of detail these guys go into is just insane. 18-hour days they were saying that to put in, and then basically this ship's 6th of September.
6th of September.
They've already started talking about 21, and they will start working on it. It's just mad.
Yeah,
It's crazy.
It's mad.
Never-ending cycle, and that's what makes the game even better, because every year they just add to what they've previously made, which was already great, and they're just refining it each year on year.
What did you like about the in-game play? Anything in particular stand out to you?
Yeah, it felt like there was more nuance in the variations of finishing at the rim. I felt as though, it didn't work to my advantage. I was missing a lot of open layups, but I think I touched on it to you when we were talking. I thought, whilst I'm not necessarily got a handle on it, I feel like it's a really good thing in terms of giving you that authentic look and maybe getting that step closer to what you touched up on, where Mike essentially wants it to look exactly like watching a basketball game. Every basketball player finishes at the rim differently, and if you look at the game now, I feel like it's taking that step into a direction where it looks like that. When you're flying through the key with Enes Kanter, it looks different to when you're doing it with Steph Curry. And I know that it was already at that case.
Yeah, that is Enes Kanter flying through.
But they've kind of already they've intensified that and they've basically leveled up in that respect of the game. And as well as that, it was just so super fluid, and it felt as though you weren't there was not much rigid. It wasn't very rigid in terms of the
rigidity. That is a word.
No, I knew it was a word, but I just thought, if I'm going to say this word, I'm going to stumble, and I don't know why. Everyone has their words, stuff like that. But yeah, I just thought it was super fluent, and the movement was really smooth. And I wish I could find better ways to articulate that.
One of the things I noticed from last year was when I first played it last year, for some reason it felt heavy that the player movement did, and I felt that a lot of that was gone this year. The way they've changed the way sprint works, and you can't just. I like this little nod you're doing each time you take a sip. It's just like
I was hoping you would notice it in post production instead of now, but
no, I clocked it. It's good. I like the whole little nod, and I might have to incorporate that into my own water consumption, which is taking me far too long to drink. But yeah, just the way they change sprint and stuff. We can't just. I've got a heavy right index finger for I just sprint everywhere, and obviously you can't get away with that now.
No, you can't do that this year.
You've got to pick and choose your moments.
You do.
I thought also just it felt when I first started playing last year, it felt like a real massive increase in difficulty. I felt as though defenses were so stubborn to the point where it was actually unrealistic.
A good point. Yeah.
And I didn't feel that today.
No,
I didn't.
Even though you lost. Signet by double digits?
Yeah, well, I wasn't losing because it was hard to pass the ball. Whereas it felt like that last time. It felt like there was no kind of
I couldn't buy a basket last year. I remember trying it at the Brooklyn launch, and I could not.
You struggled.
So cheers.
You're welcome.
Not even against you. This is when I played against the computer on it. Oh, right, you remember that as well?
Yeah.
Oh, was that Mark Henry was stood next to us?
Oh yeah,
Yeah, the wrestler. Yeah, what's he called?
World's Strongest Man. Sexual chocolate.
Sexual chocolate. Yeah, I was in his Instagram like feed thing, and it.
Why has he told me that?
I don't know.
Sexual chocolate.
I was stood there for like 10 minutes going, I recognise this dude, and I can't think where from. And then after about like I think I took a photo of him playing. He was like, "Can you take a photo of me?" I said, "Yeah, sure, why not?" And give it back to him. And then he walked up, and I went, "Oh."
There's not many people the same size as.
Well, that's probably what I mean. I've
Quite
not watched
distinctive.
wrestling in about like 15 years, maybe probably longer than that. And I just something was going, I know this person. I can't think where from.
Sexual chocolate.
Yeah, there you go. There's good footage of him dunking. Have you seen that before?
I have seen it.
Yeah, because you find that powerlifters have the highest vertical jump because of that. But he's dunking.
Unbelievable.
I know.
It is
Go
quite
YouTube that afterwards. It's pretty epic. Anyway.
I don't want to see him land.
Man.
The ground shakes.
Anyway, what the hell were we talking about? Just the ability to score this year seems a bit easier.
Yeah.
Do you think that's a good thing, or
Yeah, it's definitely a good thing. Yeah, if you're getting a lot of more new people come in, they're going to want to be able to actually play the game and enjoy it. And if you're not scoring, you're not going to enjoy it. But obviously, that does have to be kept to a certain level of realism.
Exactly. Because I saw some people tweeting like, if you can still hit like 36 footers with XYZ, then it seems like more. There was at one point percentages started coming on the screen mid game, and I was trying to figure out what they were. So they weren't field goal percentages, I don't think.
No, they were the percentage chance of that player making a shot from the position they're standing at.
Okay.
That's why all mine were, because I just picked up transition.
That's why they're all like 5%.
Yeah, like red 7s and 5s, and I was like, wait, what?
This can't be good.
Yeah, but I was in my own half court, so that explains why. But that's quite cool.
It is a very cool addition. So yeah, when you're on defense and you see Ben Simmons standing at the 3-point line, it says like 0%. Mm-hmm. You know you can just chill off him, and if it's a player that you don't really know, just come off the bench or something, and he comes up at like 30%, chances are you're going to want to leave him open. So I think that's a really good addition that they've added in, and in Pro-Am and my team, it's going to make a big difference.
That's a great point on Ben Simmons. The first game I played was Milwaukee, Philadelphia. Ran riot with Giannis, which was great. I just wanted to do that. And Kyle Korver is just wet. But Ben Simmons shot a jump shot.
Wow.
Missed. So
good.
The realism's there.
The realism's there. That's all we need to say, really.
It was a long 2 from the wing, and it just clanged. And I think I said to you, I said, "Whoa, Ben Simmons just shot a jump shot."
Well, you said that you said about the kind of the percentage thing coming up, and you said that it just didn't have a number; it just said coward.
Definitely didn't. We've got a video to prove that, but I better check that in case I did. Might mute that bit of audio. But yeah, overall. First impressions then, how amazing did you find it?
10 out of 10, easily.
10 out of 10.
Yeah, the amount of customizability.
I
had to play it in my head.
I think it's customization, but customizability.
Yeah. Oh, is it still not right? Oh, well, we rolled with it now.
It's now.
I've said it with confidence, so that means it's true.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. The amount of builds you can test for free as well. So last year, if you wanted to make a build, you'd have to pay to VC, or for VC to upgrade it up to an 85 to make it semi-usable. But this year you can boost any upgrade on any player and test it out before committing to spending the money on a build, which is massive. And that is a big thing that people wanted. And again, they've listened, which is great. So yeah, very much looking forward to trying every build possible.
Yeah, well, one of the things when you went through the designing MyPlayer that they flipped this year was the presentation of it all. Mm-hmm. And there was like pie charts where you could effectively look at how things like strength, agility, and there was another one in there, affected your players' on-court abilities. And obviously you can change, you pick like still got the same sort of core 5 finisher, spot-up shooter, or create shot creator. And then it gave you, as you went through to the next level, it gave you the ability to then apply a certain amount of points to what your peak can be at a particular skill. So if you don't value things, then you know, whereas last year you automatically still had it. This year you can pick your own, which seems just awesome.
It is fantastic.
Even they've still got the caps at the top, but you can just apply as much as you want to different sections. You've got
to have the caps, otherwise people will just abuse 3-pointers and speed and job done. Yeah. But the fact you can put in which ones you want, like say you can just disregard the ones you don't think your player needs, I think that's brilliant.
Yeah.
And then the badges are absolutely fantastic. The way you can add them on, and then if you get an upgrade and then you realise you didn't want a specific badge, you can take it off. That is going to be fantastic.
You can really get these customised, like really niche customisations as well. It'll be interesting to see whether there's a combination there that doesn't like break the game, but all of a sudden you've got you just need this and this, and your players just sort it. I wonder how long it'll take for someone to crack that out.
I mean, the one badge that stood out to me was one called Flexible Shooter. I think it was Flexible Shooter. It's Flexible something. The description was something of the like, obviously. I can't remember word for word. It was like, it gives you a margin of error if you release the ball badly.
Oh, right, okay.
So if you get a bad release early or late, it'll mitigate that and give you a boost to make the next shot. So that seems that could be kind of ridiculously powerful. If you get like a half bar and it still goes in, it shouldn't go in, but because of this badge...
So you've already got a guy who's basically gone for a max on threes, and then they've also applied this badge. And it's just like, so
they could be pulling it from half court. Yeah. So that's going to be a badge that I'm very interested to see how it pans out. That's the one that really caught my eye. Out of the 78 badges, I think there were in total.
There's a lot of badges.
There's a lot to get through.
A lot of badges.
Yeah.
Who did your player comps come up as? For your MyPlayer,
I got kind of slashing, kind of aggressive driving point guards. One in which included John Wall. I can't remember who else there was.
Okay.
It was nowhere near as good as yours. I'm sure that you asked me that just to say.
That was leading. I got KD, Jason Tatum, and someone else really good. I can't remember who it was. I was just like, here we go. So I just went with I think I went with 6'7" small forward. But slashing, and then I sort of boosted 3-point shots as well.
Got to be done.
Did pretty good in the college game bit. I think I had like 22 before I was benched. Then won't spoil the story too much, but 22. Didn't put anything on rebounds because I like my guy can jump anyway. I don't need him to get rebounds. Not true.
How many rebounds did you get?
I got 2. I think I got 4 or 5 assists as well. So I did all right. But did you do? What comps did you get? Can you remember?
I did a couple. I did the sharpshooter to begin with. I think it was just a primary and secondary sharpshooter. I just did everything shooting. I gave him all the shooting badges. So I was jacking it from 35 feet with all the Hall of Fame badges on like range extender, which used to be limitless range. That's been changed now. I had that flexible shooter on him. Had dead eye on him, so everything was maxed out, and he was hitting from pretty damn deep.
Yeah.
So the sharpshooters are still going to be really, really strong this year. And then I played with a centre, maxed him out 7'3", 290 pounds, max wingspan. So we went as big as possible and as long as possible. And like you said earlier, if you press that sprint button on a big guy, he's not going anywhere. Yeah, he can sprint for about 2 seconds and then he's out for the count. But in terms of defending and rebounding, so that's why I had him on. I think I was a defensive rebounder. He was an absolute tank in the paint. If anyone came in there, he was rejecting it.
What do you think your go-to build's going to be?
Probably either a pure sharp like I had last year, so just sharpshooter all the way, or a playmaking sharpshooter at point guard position. Because from their pie chart, like I said, they're really cool to see what's what.
Once you get your head around it.
Yeah.
I sat there for a few minutes just going, what is this?
These are funny colours.
Yeah, one of the devs was behind us talking us through it as we were sort of headphone in, trying to talk into the camera, watching this, and I was just like, what's going on? But it was really bizarre.
When you get the hang of which one's which, I think people are really going to start to nail down the meta builds for this year. And there's always going to be a top 5. There's going to be one for every position that is going to be that a little bit better than everything else. And I think the play sharp will probably be there. The point guard, sharpshooter will probably be the shooting guard. Probably a glass cleaner again at centre position, so just rebounding all the way and a little bit on defence. And I'm not sure about power forwards or sharp small forwards. Didn't test them out. That was my time of 3 hours.
Didn't have limitless time.
No,
could have spent all day there.
Could have done.
We can't spend all day here though. Is there anything else you want to carry on with?
Not really.
No? I see you look a bit dry now. Are you done?
Yeah, we're nearly there.
There's another nod there.
Yeah, well, we can do a final nod, but the mojitos they're just getting started. But yeah, great experience today. We saw a lot of my career stuff. just want to close off with the fact that a lot of people had expressed to me beforehand, and when I asked questions on Twitter about kind of the fact that we were coming here and asked basically for users' questions, gamers, players' questions, and a common thread was that people wanted to know if it's just as hard as it used to be to kind of progress as a player. Sometimes they felt as though it was a bit of a slog to kind of go from, once you make a couple of steps, it then becomes a bit of a
As in, like, proving your MyPlayer's overall rating. It's just
it
tough
becomes
to do.
and it becomes that kind of really slow cycle. When I spoke to one of the devs today, they said that they really took that on board. And whilst it's not easy, they need to maintain a certain level of difficulty. It's not as kind of like endlessly going through the same motions to try and get up to a certain level. It's become a little bit easier, and I think that'd be a relief to many people.
Isn't there that thing now as well where you get like temporary, I don't want to say boosts, but if you don't play consistently well, your rating is reflected almost game to game.
Like a form.
Yeah. There was something about that earlier. I'd like to say, like, I think it was one of the second trailers we got to see. But it seemed
Lost in one.
Yeah, well, I'm sat here going.
After that,
I'm sat here going, did I dream this? Maybe it was just a jet lag dream. But
the last thing I want to say as well is my favourite thing was when we were watching those trailers. After we'd met everyone at the 2K team and had a little bit of food, everyone was kind of really ready to play the game. And when they saw the trailer for the first time, my favourite thing was hearing people go, "Ooh!" That's when you know people were impressed. People were impressed.
Yeah, it was good.
But overall, tremendous day.
Yeah, excellent day. We're gonna shut off now because we've got dinner reservations. We're going. Was it chicken, waffle, and watermelon? Is the go-to dish apparently?
Chicken's the go-to dish.
We'll get some fried chicken in Beverly Hills. Let's do this.
That's going to be epic. But thank you very much to 2K UK for letting us.
Massive thank you.
Yeah, letting us enjoy this game before anyone else and just sort of get a feel for it. That is much appreciated. But thank you for watching and listening because we're both at the minute somehow. Some magic that I've managed to stuff in my little suitcase. We'll see you next time. Take care.